Top of the morning, beautiful Nigerians. Happy Independence Day to all of us. Today, Nigeria marks 65 years of independence, and yes, indeed, it's been a milestone and it's worth celebrating, through the struggles, the triumphs, the big wins and the small wins, the failures, the disappointment, and everything. By the end of the day, we still have today to celebrate. Welcome to another day where we bring you the latest headlines as they come on. Of course, today's, which is Independence Day, I'll be bringing you what the headlines are saying today, and of course weather updates. I am Princess Ekeze Okoli, and this is the press on Captain Television here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Well, without further ado, we're going to start with the weather update today. So as you go about, today is going to be a fun fair. I know with the holidays, so many people will be at home and there'll be a bit of celebration. Some going out to celebrate today, some staying indoors. I don't know what your plans are for today, but whatever it is, let's tell you what the weather is like today. So I'm going to be starting with, let me see, I'll start with Ondo. Ondo is quite significant to Kaftan because that is where parent body is. So in the city of Ondo, as of today, we have a temperature of 23 degrees Celsius with a bit of drizzle this morning, a high of 27 degrees and a low of 22 degrees Celsius. Cloudy conditions are expected around 10 with wind gusts up to 15 kilometers per hour. All right, with that, I take you away from Ondo and bring you Lagos because they're still in the same terrain, and that means the southwest. Lagos, the city of Lagos, is boasting of 26 degrees Celsius at the moment with drizzle, a high of 28 degrees Celsius and a low of 25 degrees Celsius. Cloudy conditions are expected around 1600 hours with wind gusts up to 16 kilometers per hour. And with that, I take you to the southeast. In the southeast, let's look at Imo State. Imo is boasting of 23 degrees Celsius with a bit of drizzle as well this morning, a high of 26 degrees and a low of 22 degrees Celsius. Rainy conditions will continue all day with wind gusts up to 18 kilometers per hour. And that takes us to the city of Enugu State. In Enugu, we're having temperature of 23 degrees Celsius, drizzle as well, with a high of 27 degrees and a low of 22 degrees Celsius. Rainy conditions will continue all day with wind gusts up to 22 kilometers per hour. All right, with that, I take you away from the southeast and bring you to the south. Let's look at the city of Benin in Edo State. Benin is boasting of 23 degrees Celsius as well, with a bit of rain as well in that city, a high of 28 degrees and a low of 23 degrees Celsius. Rainy conditions will continue all day with wind gusts up to 14 kilometers per hour. I'm sure the residents of Benin won't like this weather today, especially for those that would like to step out. Let's look at Port Harcourt, still in the south region. Port Harcourt is boasting of 24 degrees Celsius. It is also raining there with a high of 26 degrees and a low of 23 degrees Celsius. Rainy conditions will continue all day with wind gusts up to 13 kilometers per hour. All right, that does that for the southern part of the country. Let me bring you to the north. And in the north, let's look at the city of Kano. In Kano State, Kano's actually have very bright skies this morning with temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. It's partly cloudy though, but a high of 33 degrees and a low of 23 degrees Celsius. We have sunny conditions expected around 9 this morning with wind gusts up to 20 kilometers per hour. And not so far from Kano is the city of Kaduna. All right, let me see. Kaduna is boasting over 23 degrees Celsius with a cloudy conditions, high of 30 degrees and a low of 22 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy conditions expected around 12 with wind gusts up to 24 kilometers per hour. And in the city of Jos is having a bit of a higher temperature than usual, and that is 22 degrees Celsius. Mostly cloudy conditions with a high of 27 and a low of 19 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy conditions are expected around 10 with wind gusts up to 14 kilometers per hour. And let me take you down to the northeast in the city of Maiduguri in Borno State. 27 degrees Celsius at the moment, partly cloudy with a high of 34 degrees and a low of 23 degrees Celsius. Clear conditions expected around 1800 hours today, with wind gusts up to 21 kilometers per hour. And with that, I bring you back home here in the city of Abuja, the municipal. We're having temperature of 23 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy with a high of 28 degrees and a low of 22 degrees Celsius. Well, rainy conditions are expected around 5 this evening, with wind gusts up to 15 kilometers per hour. And with that, I end the weather update for today. So to go about your business today, especially celebrating Nigeria's 65, pay attention to what the weather is looking like in your area and go out appropriately. So with that said, let's look at what the headlines is saying today, the Independence Day, Wednesday, the 1st of October. Let me also add Happy New Month to all of you Nigerians. All right, let's look at what the paper is saying this morning. I'll start with the Daily Monitor as we canvass through the papers today. The Daily Monitor this morning, the top headlines there says, you are after check of Jews, not workers' welfare, Dangote tells Pengerson and TUC. All right, also have other stories there. We have a court ruling on shadow government won't stop me from expressing myself. Pat Utomi. We also have other stories about Islam's Onanuga overcomment on Jonathan says no stars in Tinubu government. Man urges Nigeria's first policy implementation, local product support. Strike, Makinde meets Lautech teaching hospital workers, addresses demands. All right, 65th anniversary, we finally turned the corner. The worst is over, Tinubu. And the writer says Nigerians today have access to better education, healthcare than in 1960. Well, these are some of the things we'll be highlighting today and analyzing with my guests as we go over the show. And another writer says vows to transform the economy. All right, we also have other stories here still on the Daily Monitor. Nigeria is a diverse, complex country, but not difficult to rule. Obasanjo on that says honesty, sincerity on part of leaders remain crucial in managing the country. All right, let me take you away from the Daily Monitor and bring you the First Daily. First Daily, power crisis looms as Dangote Pengerson feuds cuts 1,100 megawatts. Nigeria 65, pray, unite or risk collapse. Can Mark warn. Cleric statesmen urge visionary leaders as nation marks independence amidst insecurity, economic strain. All right, other stories you'll find on First Daily this morning. Peter B demands security emergency after Okeode killings. APC to PDP, let Jonathan enjoy retirement, forget 2027. TUC slams Dangote refinery, stop putting profit above workers' rights. FCT police probe death of a Rise TV journalist, Sami Madago. NAFDAC withdraws 101 pharmaceutical product from market. Obasanjo, honest leaders, not miracles, will save Nigeria. And the last story there on First Earnings. Earnings from runs girls taxable, declares federal government. Okay, that's that's really funny. Okay, let's see how that goes though. Okay, I'm interested in how they're going to determine that. All right, let me take you away from that and bring you the metrics this morning. Sterling holding company public offers draws demands amid strong investor poll. Dangote refinery, Pengerson's face off, no end in sight. And some of the writers reads Pengerson, others invading service of court order. Dangote refinery laments Koran, the CORAN, private refinery shouldn't be sabotaged or allowed to fail. I've left politics now for all Ibadan. All right, Olubadan to Atiku on that one. Nigeria 65 starts speaking ill of Nigeria's President Tinubu. All right, and the writer says 65th independence anniversary is no small milestone. Nigerians will soon begin to enjoy prosperity. dismissed genocide claim, says no religion is under siege in Nigeria. And the last one here says Ababio Abbas appeal for patience with Tinubu's reform. All right, these are the stories you find on the Metrics today. And with that, I bring you the Vanguard newspaper. The Vanguard newspaper. Dangote Pengason, darkness looms as electricity generation falls. All right, we have good governance. Igbo-speaking people from 8 states honor Soludo. Nigeria 65, the worst is over. We've turned a new corner. Tinubu says all hands should be on deck for nation building, and that's actually the theme for this year's independence. Notes economy on rebound with 4.23% GDP growth, $42 billion reserves, lowest inflation in 3 years. And on that Vanguard, you're going to see the building block, of course, highlighting Nigeria's growth from different aspects, from economy to industrialization, to development or production, security, food security, infrastructure, human capital development, and so on and so forth. All right, with that, let me take you away from there and bring you the Daily Times. All right, Daily Times. Mixed reactions show Nigeria 65. And the top stories there says poverty rate in northern states above 60%. NNDC chairman. Police probes murder of a Rise TV reporter Madrago in Abuja. All right, a very sad story, I must say, in that one. Our critics can say what they like. APC has salvaged Nigeria. Tinubu pension fund asset hits 25.9 trillion naira as 10.88 million workers enroll. ICPC arraigns to over 4.8 million forgery fake job scam. Aviation stakeholders decry policy failures, lack of national career. All right, those are the stories on Daily Times today. And with that, I bring you the Nation newspaper. NSA steps into Dangote Pengason dispute. How Lagos Ibadan Rail is redefining commerce. Or a standstill for Uzodima's book presentation. Wiki, we will hunt down killers of a Rise TV reporter. And then we have Tinubu list 12 economic milestone, and that's you see the Tinubu's building blocks there. All right, let me see. Let me take you away from there and bring you another story, another paper today, which is the Nigerian Tribune. Nigeria now on path to recovery. Tinubu shows as nation turns 65, challenges naysayers to review, compare Nigeria's journey since 1960. I am no longer a politician, Olubadan tells Atiku El-Rufai Avis. Security operatives storm bandits camp in Kwara, kill many. All right, and the paper is also having the building blocks for Greater Nigeria. All right, with that, I take you to The Guardian. Let's look at The Guardian newspaper. Out of school children endanger Nigeria's security, Obasanjo warns. At 65, it's time for Nigeria to reclaim her independence. Concerns over rising insecurity abduction in North Central. Nigeria 65, Tinubu hails reform, says West over, urges unity, optimism. Okay, let me bring you another newspaper, and that's the leadership newspaper. Tinubu, we're now selling more to the world than buying. All right. Dangote Refinery oil union continued negotiations to resolve row. All right, those are the stories you find on the leadership this morning. And I'll take you away from that and bring you Liberty newspaper. Jonathan dismissal record will haunt him in 2027 presidency. Sex workers must pay taxes on their earnings from 2026. Federal government. I don't know why I find this particular story really funny. Okay, that means they're sort of indirectly legalizing it if you're asking them to pay tax. Okay, Boko Haram attacks Borno community, burns district's head's palace. Very sad story there. We're still having killings in Borno State. Insecurity, Boko Haram, I don't know. Kwara killings, north on fire, south on edge. Nigeria facing genocide, Yoruba group warn. All right, let me read a bit on that. It said fresh outrage has trailed the September 17 massacre in Okeode, Ifelodun local government area of Kwara State, where 15 people, including vigilantes, women, children, and a village head, were killed by armed bandits. NRC office injured Abuja Kaduna train passengers free ride at week till December 31. Okay. Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso set to expose Nigerian politics aiding bandits. Alleged Tinubu defamation planned by DSS to arrange or erase stalls. Pengerson should be dissolved by sabotaging Nigeria's oil sector, and Dume backs Tinubu on labor crackdown. All right, those are the stories you find on Liberty today. And lastly, before I bring you a bit of entertainment and sport, we have the Peak newspaper. The Peak newspaper says, the top stories there says, Nigeria's rent crisis deepens as two-bedroom flats soar to 2.5 million annually. You know, I wonder if they know what Nigerians are getting paid as salaries to be paying rents as steep as this. Federal government rolls out 32,000 Naira pension bills. Retirees see new payday adjustment. Court orders arrest of INEC chairman over contempt. Showeray versus federal government. Court fixes October 27 for Showeray's arraignment. And the last story says, free dead, dozens fear trapped as Islamic school collapses in Indonesia. All right, with that, I bring you a bit of entertainment, and I'll be bringing you the Metro Showbiz gist. And some of the stories you find there, we have don't confess cheating to your wife, Teju babyface to men. Okay. Adewale Ayuba denies divorce, paternity scandal. Prosecutors seek 11-year jail term for Didi after conviction. And the last one, Manicare is named Lagos anti-drug ambassador despite past controversy. All right, with that, I bring you the metric sport as well. We also have stories here that says UCL Ademola Lookman named to Atalanta's starting 11. We have CAFCL, Rivers United will get better, Finidi. UCL Osimhen scores as Galveston, Liverpool, Mourinho defeated in Chelsea's return. I saw a bit of that particular match yesterday. All right, LeBron James, Rafael Nadal's team set to compete in Lagos Grand Prix. All right, those are the stories on the Metric Sports. And with that, we're taking a quick breather. When we return, we'll be analyzing, I think there's not much to analyze what today holds, which is, of course, Nigeria 65. We'll be looking at Nigeria at 65 and what it portends. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. All right, welcome back to the press on today's night of Nigeria's Independence Day at 65. I am Princess, welcoming you back. So on the show, we basically highlight the latest and biggest headlines on our nation's paper, and of course, give you weather updates. So like I told you, at this particular flip, or say the flip side of the conversation we're having, I've been joined by my guests in the studio, and today I have two guests in the studio who will be talking and analyzing what it means for Nigeria at 65. So just let me quickly introduce my guests in the studio. Just to my immediate left is Hassan Mohammed. Hassan, he's ambassador and former deputy chief of mission of Nigeria to the United States of America. It's a pleasure to have you join us, sir, once again.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. And of course, and the next guest I have in the studio is Idris Umar, who is a public analyst. It's also a pleasure to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so as you know, almost every TV and radio station will be discussing what it means for Nigeria to be 65 years today, and so it shouldn't come as a surprise. So I think I'll start by, at 65, where do we stand as a nation and where are we headed? Let me start with that particular question. I'll have you, Hassan, to respond to the question. Where do you think we stand as a nation at 65, and where do you think we're headed at the moment?
Thank you very much for the question. And first and foremost, I want to congratulate Nigerians for getting to the age of 65. It's something that we should all celebrate, and I hope will move beyond and beyond 65. Where are we heading to, right?
Yes. And where are we at the moment?
Nigeria is doing great at the moment. Okay. The only thing that is we are facing, they are just not very serious things if we want to get them solved. Let's look at the history of Nigeria. Nigeria got our independence in 1960. We went through the Civil War. We came out, no victor, no vanquished. That's the Gawan regime. We continued. There was this Mentamada, there were so many things, but we scaled through. It came to the government of General Murtala Mohammed, then transited to General Obasanjo, and it went very well, and they transited to Shehu Shagari. Shehu Shagari continued, and things were moving a bit okay, and there were confusion, and a lot of things happened, directionless and all that. The military came in as a correctional government. They never intended to stay long, and that was Buhari's period, and Buhari couldn't stay long enough. Babangida came, and the whole thing continued along that line. And to this stage, we can say Nigeria, despite our difficulties and our problems, I believe if we are committed to solving those problems, Nigeria remains a strong and a beautiful nation.
All right, thank you very much. All right, I'm going to go to you, Idris. I'd like you to take it from the theme for this year's Independence Day. The theme says, all hands on deck. What are your thoughts with that? Do you think it's apt? And what do you think it means for a common Nigerian?
Thank you for asking me this question. Yeah, if you look at the team is very good for hands to be on deck. The way he said it, there's a lot of problems here and there. So if the government will go back, will go to a drawing board, sit down, analyze things, where things are going wrong, come up with a solution. If you look at it, the problem that we're having now, there's so much. They are even countless, you can't count them. So if the government, since they say that they will be hand on deck, they should put their hand on deck, work very hard, solve those problems so that Nigeria will enjoy the independence we have. Independence is not just on paper. If it is on paper, we need to have that freedom whereby citizens will do a lot of things that you're supposed to maybe acquire, supposed to buy. You can buy it easily without difficulty. If the government really put their hand on decks and subsidize, use their time and reduce these sufferings, because the hardship that Nigeria is going is really, really too much. They need to do something, put their hand on decks and trying to solve a lot of problems. Okay.
Well, Ambassador Hassan, I'll go back to you on what the president said earlier today during the Independence Day broadcast, where he mentioned to Nigerians saying that the worst is over. So to Nigerians, if you feel that this is the highest or the worst of the situation, that this is it, that going forward things are going to get better. Do you believe in that?
I don't. I don't, because I feel I'm a realistic person. The president is doing very well as far as some issues are concerned. But the worst are over in what terms? Is it the economy? Is it security? Is it the social well-being of the people? The security, since security is dominating every part of our lives, farmers can't go to farm. We experience hunger, which led to mass importation of food. That's why we have prices down. So what is over? They are striving, and we have to give it to them. This thing started before their time, and it's continuing. And we are yet to put our hands on the issue to stop it. But they are trying. But for one to say the worst is over, I don't think so. I don't think so. The economy is still struggling. So to say that the worst is over, I think is wrong. The government is trying very well, taking into account what is before them. And I commend them for doing what they are doing, but I don't think the worst is over.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Idris, back to you. And I think my question still hinges on today's this year's theme that says all hands on deck. Now, you know, in most cases, we always call on leaders as the problems of this country, and or that they are the only ones that could change things. So if I were to ask you, what role do you think we as citizens should play in building our nation, what would you say? Because whether we like it or not, we the followers also have a role to play in building our country.
You see, the thing, I'm one person that don't really believe that the president is not doing very well. Really is doing very well. But the issue, I put the issue on the citizens. We, the citizens, we are the problem of this country. You find out, let's assume you go to the market, you want to buy something. Maybe the price, there is increase in price. You find out that they have all stock in the market, but they will still increase the price. Why? You see, that's problem number one. Let's take another example, the fuel prices.
Exactly.
The prices keep on rising every day. Don't forget, if they bought this fuel with the old price, the moment that price increases, you find that they increase the price. So why? Where are the problem? Let's, for instance, another example, like during Ramadan. That's during fasting.
Yes.
You find that all these people that are selling fruits, they are the people that are doing the fasting. But go to the market and price it. You find that things are very, very high.
The prices skyrocket.
Skyrocketing. Why? Are you telling me it is the president that is selling it, or maybe it's the one setting the price? It's not the one. So this applies to everything that's happening. The president is not the one to be blamed. We, the masses, we need to blame. Okay, another example is, look at the example of Muslim Christians. You understand? We found out that we hated ourselves every day with no reason. There is no reason that we hate yourself. We hate ourselves. Instead of us to come together and look at to move this country forward, so that all this suffering that we say we are suffering, the suffering, we just elapse it. But for where we keep on jamming ourselves, doing the wrong thing. That's my take.
Okay. Well, today is not just about discussing the downturn. I also like us to discuss what have we achieved as a nation since 1960. A 65-year-old man is not a child. So Nigeria is 65 since we got our independence. Do we have anything that Nigeria could say, yes, since 1960 till 1965, or rather since 1960 that we got independence till this year 2025, that yes, we can boldly say that we have achieved this as a nation and we're proud of it? Can you please, I will have both of you respond to this question. I'll start with you, Ambassador. What would you say is that one thing, or maybe it's more than one thing that you could say that yes, Nigeria has achieved since 1960?
We have achieved a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. For the fact that Nigeria, we are sitting here today talking about Nigeria, it means Nigeria means something to everybody.
Okay.
So in that respect, we have gone very long miles, and we are towards attaining where we are heading to. But there are problems, as I told you. But the same thing with we have reached some level of self-sufficiency.
In what terms?
In terms of food.
You think so?
Yeah, because you see, it's because of this banditry. If not, Nigerians were feeding on what they produce. Even with the crisis during the Buhari government, rice no longer became a problem, because we had the government embarked on encouraging people. They took loans from the CBN and they established factories, and they were selling, food was all right. Nigeria today is the backbone of the West African economy, because people talk of formal economics, but the informal economy that is going on is more than the formal economy. Take, for example, our food export up to Central African Republic, our food exports up to Senegal. Go to Megatari. There is a town they call Megatari. Is it in Katsina?
Yes.
Okay. You will see the effects. And go to Lagos side, where you have a border with Seme. You see the food that is being sent out. So it's just a matter, we just need to tweak the thing. It has not come to us yet, but you see, we have post-harvest that is being wasted. If we are able to take care of that, we are doing great.
Okay.
Yes, because you need to see, you have to travel to other countries. I'm telling you, there is no country that is all right. Because even the United States today, as a Democrat, he will tell you what's happening in the United States, and he will come out shouting and doing so many things. Go to London, go to Chad. Nigeria's problem is not insurmountable. We are yet to tune ourselves to the idea of getting great. If we have a mindset of achieving, we'll get somewhere. Look at Dangote. Petroleum was a scarcity, fuel queues and so many things. But a serious person sat down and said, I will establish this thing. What do we have today? Dangote is exporting petroleum and petroleum products all over the world. This issue he's having with Henderson is not a serious thing. It's not serious. It's just for them to come together and find the solution and allow things to go. But it remains that, the example of Dangote and so many other industrialists around.
Yes.
Look at what do you call it? Globacom. It's a multinational company. Is it not owned by Nigerian? So
yes,
there are so many things we have achieved, but Nigeria will always want to criticize and not looking at what is there for us. So we need to sit down and also come together and look at the things dispassionately and apply what is the medicine that is appropriate for the sickness.
For the sickness. All right, thank you. All right, Idris, let me go over to you with the same question. Like I said, what would you say is the major milestone since Nigeria's independence in 1960? What would you say is that thing that, or that one thing, or a couple of things we've achieved as a nation?
Yeah, if you look at it, there is some improvement, so many improvement. If you look at it, if you ask me, the way he said it, agriculture is doing very well before the insurgency, because if you look at it, we feed the neighboring countries. The way you said it, if you look at, you go to the border country, you find out they are exporting the food we are harvesting. When you look at it now, since the banditry started, you find that the farming has completely go down because of it. So there is no way people can go to farm. If you go to farm, they will kidnap them and the rest of. Another thing, if you look at the Dangote refinery, it's a good thing. It's a good investment. That is a, how would I put it? It's a good investment that for a night. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, let me help you out here. Now, when basically, I want us to look like inward as it affects us. I'm talking about not just our economy. Let's look at politics as it stands. We're in the democratic setting now, aren't we? Are we practicing democracy in its totality? Let's look at social development. We're talking about education. We're talking about healthcare. We're talking about poverty reduction. Then let's look at our unity and, of course, our diversity. We're talking about ethnic, religious relations, nation building, and so on. And, of course, the biggest one, which is security, addressing terrorism, banditry, and, of course, internal conflicts as they come. So in all of this I've mentioned, do you think Nigeria since 1960 has achieved any significant milestone in any of those areas I've mentioned, or you think we're still lagging behind?
In some aspects we are still lagging behind, but in some other aspects we are moving forward. Like the way you mentioned democracy, this democracy, like this fourth republic, we started 26 years ago, and if you look at it from Eradua, Jonathan, Buhari, and now Tinubu, at least it's something. If you compare to the military rule that ruled for a very long time, that's a good achievement. Education as well. If you compare in the 1960s, how many universities do you have in the country? How many schools? But compared now, you've had a lot of universities.
Okay.
Like presently now, people don't even go abroad and study because there is alternative university in the country. Right?
Okay.
And what did you mention again?
Okay, I mentioned healthcare, poverty reduction, insecurity.
If you look at poverty reduction, that one is a no-go area.
Okay.
Because people don't have money. There is no money in circulation.
That includes me.
People are really suffering. If you go to the village, you find that people, they will tear you because of money. The moment they see somebody come from town, they will think that that person comes with money, so they'll be rushing you because there is no money entirely.
All right.
If you look at security again, security, there is no security. I remember years back, if I'm coming from my state, because if I'm driving, I used to feel dizzy. If I want to rest, I will just find on that tree and just lay my seat and sleep. When I sleep, I wake up, I start going. But now,
you can't do that.
Can't try that. So the security issue is a no-go area. The government need to do something reasonable, really serious and urgent to alleviate that.
Okay.
To improve it.
I think personally, if I'm going to be asked the same question I ask you as to what milestone have we achieved since 1960, I think I would say it basically lies on certain areas, like when it comes to our sports, when it comes to entertainment,
Yes.
Musicians, they're like everywhere in the world and making Nigerians. Right? I think that is one area I would say, yes, Nigeria is actually out there in the world due to the influence of some of these youngins in our country. We have our music, including our movies, of course. Our movies, our music. You hear some of our musicians they become household names outside this country,
Yes.
and they've really done us proud. We talk about sports. We have so many of our Nigerian brothers and sisters in different clubs all over the world do fantastically well. But then when we come back home talking about some of the things that bothers us, economy, insecurity, healthcare, education, I don't think Nigerians will say, yes, we've really done fantastically well, because our education is not in a good state. We have so many government school, dilapidated buildings. They don't have chairs, no teachers, you understand? And then you mentioned that we have more university, but the question is, I think it shouldn't really be about how many universities we have, but about the quality of graduates they churn out every year. Now let's look at healthcare. It's not news that our healthcare system is in shambles, and it's a shame that our leaders, when they want to get medical attention, should leave this country and get better medical attentions and leave the rest of us Nigerians. Something happened just some days ago, and a young lady died because they were robbed in their vicinity. But because of these healthcare challenges, a life that would have been saved was lost. And this is just one out of many. So now that brings me back to the challenges we have in this country, and how can we solve it? I've mentioned some of them. How do you think we should go about solving Nigeria's problem? Because I believe that at 65, we should have done better than this. Nigeria should not be grappling with things like insecurity, things like electricity, right? Things like healthcare, education. poverty on the rise instead of reducing. Nigeria 65, I believe, should have done better than this, but we are where we are. But the question is, in going forward, Ambassador Hassan, what do you think should the government look at, or the way forward? Yes, it's one thing to say, oh, I'm doing this, or I'm going to do this. It's another thing to really implement it. If you were to talk to the president directly, what would you tell the president to do differently to ensure that some of these sectors or some of these areas are addressed?
I won't talk to the president directly, but I will postulate.
Okay.
Yes. Nigeria, we have problems, both the leadership and the led. If you dichotomize that is the politicians or the leaders or the followers, all of us, we have our share of problems.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So when it comes to healthcare, for example, we have Nigerians today, they are JAPA, they're going out, doctors, nurses, radiologists, and we have money. They say we have money. Why don't you improve them and let them stay? They leave the country, they go out, they establish themselves, and Nigerians, the leaders especially, because they are the ones that have money and they can afford to get themselves out for medical treatment or attention. They go there and they see some Nigerians are the ones treating them.
Exactly.
Is it not shameful?
It is.
Okay, so they need to look at that aspect of life, of our Nigerian life. We need to improve that, and it doesn't take nothing. We have produced the manpower. Why don't we retain it? Is there any magic in it? You train somebody from infancy to maturity to becoming a senior person, a professor or a doctor or something, and you allow him to go because of greener pastures? Come on. This one, it should be, it doesn't take magic to do that. Secondly, the politicians themselves, there is what we call, we don't have Nigerians, and the Nigerians generally don't have sense of nationalism. A common Nigerian will feel, oh, he doesn't want to have an accent of Nigeria, he wants an accent of European accent or whatever. That shows his level of education, level of exposure and all that. That's not it. We have to believe in ourselves. Nobody will come to Nigeria today to say we are developing this country for you. This is a competitive world. Everybody is competing for one thing or the other. So when we talk to politicians, they say, I will bring foreign investors, will bring foreign. No foreign investor will come to this country to develop your country for you. The foreign investor is out looking for money. If he can't get this money, he will go to another place. So you leave your country, go outside, tell them that they have invested. I've been in the foreign service for 36 years, and I've been on the economic desk. And every time we go and tell people, this one, come to Nigeria, come to Nigeria. But when they come to Nigeria, what do they get? What we tell them is not in line with what they see. Nigerian government policies are not, if this government gives you certain preferences today, another government comes and gives you a different preference. You are a foreign investor. You will go. Like today now, how many companies have left Nigeria? You don't know how many, but they are leaving.
They are actually.
Okay, so the thing is, we have to have plans. This is why it is important to have national development plan. If you want to build this house, for example, you have to have a plan. You have to have bill of quantities. You have to have a line through which you tow to get what you have. Am I making sense? So, you see, we will allow things to be lousy, and we rely on somebody will come. If I were a governor today, and I said we are focusing on education, we are focusing on health care, I start building the necessary framework to have the things established according to the plan. This plan is supposed, whoever comes in government after me is supposed to pursue that, because government is not a one-time thing, it's a continuum.
Yes, it is.
So, but what do we find? They say, oh, you spend money in this and nothing we need for us. We'll venture into something and it becomes an abandoned property.
Exactly.
It doesn't serve our interest very well. So we need to come up. That's where I said the lead and the leaders themselves, everybody have to have that kind of sense of patriotism. You see, NNPC, for example, has not given us fuel for the past 30 years. And they are coming, we have to, turn around maintenance. For how many years? I keep talking of Dangote. Dangote came in a few years, have the things, it's on, and he's selling all over the world. In Nigeria, we had Nigeria Airways, we had shipping lines, we had all you guys, younger people, you see it as a dream, as if it's a story.
Yes.
I had somebody from my village who was a captain in one of the shipping lines.
Wow.
Yeah. While I was in Lagos in 1983,
Wow.
he was a captain, a Nigerian. And Nigerians are such that anywhere they go, they excel.
They do.
Why don't we have them at home? At least if we are able to keep 50% of them. Nigeria is not a country you joke with. There are so many things I'll say, but let's leave it aside.
I definitely can see that. Well, we're still here discussing Nigeria at 65 here on Captain Television, and the program is The Press. Remember that you watching from home also get to be a part of it, because your voice indeed do matter. So we're going to be displaying the phone number on the screen for you to call and join the conversation we're having. What do you think? Nigeria at 65. How far gone are we? Would you say so far so good, or so far not so good? What are your take on that? We'd love to hear from you. So do well to call our studio number. We'll be taking your call to hear what you think about Nigeria at 65. All right, back to you, Idris. Still on what Ambassador Hassan said, and that's of course how can we evolve in with the present reality. 1960 and 2025 are not the same. There were things that were not obtainable in 1960 that is very obtainable now. And like you mentioned, it seems that there are some older people you talk to, and you realize that there were better things even in years back than there are now. Well, it should actually be the reverse is the case. We should be doing better right now compared to 1960. So I also love to hear from you. What do you think our leaders and of course the citizens should do to evolving in meeting the current reality on ground?
Yeah, if you look at it from 1960 to today, a lot of things have changed. But what really happened is we don't have a plan on ground. There is no plan at all. There is no plan that we say, okay, when we start pursuing this, and then we'll pursue it to the end. There is no plan. Like year in, year out, you see reading budget, so trillions allocating to Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, and the rest, what have you. But you will find out that that budget, you will see it reflecting on the reality, what is happening. Like let me take for instance health. If you go to a hospital, you find out what do? They only diagnose you, especially the public hospital. They diagnose you, just give me paper, go to any drugstore and buy your drugs.
Because
they don't have drugs there. Even if they have drugs, you have to buy the drugs. Even if the government give you the drugs. I serve in one of the northern states. There's one general hospital in that place. If you go to that general hospital, you may enter that place because it's stingy, it's smelling very well.
It's all over the country.
It's smelling very well. We enter
It's all over the country.
But to tell you the truth, when the government is visiting that hospital, even if you are eating, something fall down on the ground, you pick it and eat it. Because the way they arrange the place, they clean the place, they spray perfumes everywhere, is smelling very nice. Why? Because the government is coming. That's eye service. We Nigerians, we are good at eye service.
Yes, definitely.
We are good at that. If, like the president, okay, you give somebody like a minister of, just for example, minister of health, okay, this is your mandate. I want you to do this. I want you to do this. I want you to do this. Then you keep on following up. Have you been doing this? What progress have you made? So all the ministries, if this kind of thing is happening, definitely there's going to be change. There's going to be change. There is one minister sometimes back, just he enjoys, like, I think he's just moving his 2 states his leg. He was being flown to the UK just to fix the leg. So if you look at how they don't go to our hospitals, what is the problem? Okay, what about the citizens that are going to the hospitals? Should they die? Because they don't have money to travel out? They need to do something so that everybody will stay, will salvage this country. This country is we and the president. We are the one that will make this president to look very good, to govern very well, to get what we want. But every time we go out, school, we go out, health, we go out, anything, we go out. Okay, what about the country? That's we are not going to fix anything in the country. And to add, whoever told you that there is no money in this country, just telling you there is no money, but there is, but it's at the hands of those people. That is all. But there is money. But at least if they take the money, they should try and leave small for the rest of the people so that they will enjoy.
I don't know about leaving small for the rest of the people. I don't agree with you on that.
If I can add something
Okay, go ahead.
For us to rectify this problem, we need to go down to the grassroots, and we need to come up with the curriculum of the primary school guys,
Okay.
secondary school, and by the time you reach tertiary, you have some kind of mind you've made up. In primary school, they should emphasize on civics and nationalism more than they do on English.
Yes.
And at the same time, the parents should be cautioned. When teachers teach at school, they teach them ethics, they teach them patriotism. Don't do the opposite at home, because you'll end up confusing
The child.
So the curriculum, if the government will come up with a policy that will take care of this process, we are beginning to have people we can say they are Nigerians and Nigerians to the core. And we have to bring back history. Because anybody
It's been brought back, actually. Brought back.
Okay, but it has to be, because it was off for more than 20 years. Those that are teachers of history, they are now either retired or dead. So we have to start all over again and vigorously.
Yes.
So these are things, there are so many things that will be done, but these are, if we take this approach, we'll end up, I mean, that's why I said getting Nigeria back on track is not rocket science.
It's not.
Thank you.
All right, like I said, feel free to call and join our conversation. We'd love to hear from you this morning as we discuss Nigeria 65. If you're watching us from anywhere, when you do call, please do well to turn down the volume of your TV set or walk away. Then you tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and go right ahead to discuss. Feel free to also discuss any other matter that I've, of course, read out earlier on the paper headlines, but we are discussing fully on Nigeria 65. So, well, like I said, feel free to discuss any other things. We wouldn't want to tear that apart. So our phone lines are open. Do well to call and join the conversation. Let's take this caller. Okay, the call dropped. Do well to call back. Okay, I'll be here to take your call when it do come. I'm trying to give you a bit of a few time to see if I could take one call before we continue on the show. Okay, while we're with that call, now, do you think that in tackling Nigeria's problem, the leaders should learn to take things one at a time? What I mean by that is, if a president is elected today and he says to Nigerians, I'm going to fix electricity for you, I'll make sure you have water, good roads, security, I'll make sure this poverty is reduced, like he gives us so many promises, and at the end of the day, not one is achieved. Or do you think leaders, instead of going about telling us so many lists of things they're going to do, they should rather focus on one thing and do it properly and ensure that it's done? So, for instance, if a president decides to come on board to be the Nigeria's president and say, I want to focus on power, that by the end of my 4-year tenure, I will show that Nigeria will be boasting of 24-hour electricity, and is able to achieve just that alone, do you think that would be better than making numerous promises and not one? We only have half-baked projects across the country, and then another person will come in and leave it abandoned. We have government not completing projects because they're not the one that started it, which doesn't make sense to me. I think for, like you mentioned, patriotism, when it comes to patriotism, I think leaders should have the mindset of, okay, it doesn't matter if I'm the one that started it or if I'm the one that finished it. It should be more on how it should benefit Nigerians and not whose name is on it. What are your take on that?
The whole thing is based on honesty and truth. If you are honest and you are very truthful to your convictions, nothing will stop you. But when you come, you promise 101 things,
yeah, and not one.
And not one is achieved. But you see, you can't just pick one aspect, because Nigeria is a multifaceted country, and there are so many things to be done. You do this, people will say, oh, you are doing to those people. You do that, people are saying to you. Have to have an approach. That's why I said we need a development plan. If you have development plan, you have these are things that were in practice from colonial times up to Tafawa Balewa, up to Shagari. It was the government that came after them, after Buhari's government, that they came up with some ideas, rolling plan, this, that, planlessness, and landed us in this mess. If we have plans and everybody, someone that wants to be a governor, a senator, a president, will not choose his priorities outside the plan. And if he chooses, like now, we have some projects that just somebody will just sit down and dream and say, oh, I will have to implement this project, not minding how is it accommodated within the plans. So that's planlessness. So it's not like picking one and you continue. The government has a broad aspect, and you take them step by step, and you satisfy. If you don't satisfy, you seem to have satisfied a wide portion of the society. That is what we should adapt in our developmental strides.
Okay.
Yes, that's the same thing. I mean, Malaysia, Singapore, and so many countries, they have what they call development plans, and we had it. So we can, like when they started, UPE. You don't know UPE, Universal Primary Education. Okay? Yes. Most of those that are retired now in the Federal Civil Service, most of them graduates of UPE. The UPE is Universal Primary Education. So if you have primary children, primary school going children, then you have to think of after 6 years or 5 years, yes, they will graduate into
secondary.
So you have to expand secondary school. And the secondary school guys will after 5 years, they will graduate into universities, polytechnics, and teachers training colleges. You have to expand those ones. But if you focus on, you will provide education to primary school, they have bets, they finish, they have nowhere to go to because you have not worked for. That's what is planning all about. So it's very, very important, because even if you are building a house today, you have to take it to FCDA development plan and they approve it. They don't just allow you to do things anyhow.
Yes.
So why are we doing things anyhow?
All right. Let me go to you, Idris. Yes, Nigeria is multifaceted. We have they said our diversity is our beauty. So we're a nation of diverse people, culture, religion, every part of us, as different as it is, it's also still unique. My question is, how can we push for unity and stronger institutions and moving forward? Because our diversity, as beautiful as it is also sort of how should I call it? It's like an Achilles heel to this nation as well, because it also brings us back. It's bringing us down and taking us backward. So in pushing for unity, what would you advise the government should do, and we as a people should do also, in pushing for unity and stronger institutions?
You see, let me still tell you what I've been discussing with my friends about this issue. Before 1999, you find that in the country, everyone is living with each other peacefully, irrespective of tribe, religion, or maybe north or south. There is nothing as such. But election came, people lost, people won the election. We have a president, things started changing. From that time, you find that religion becomes something, small thing, it will trigger a religion crisis. Then, to me, if I look at it, then definitely something is wrong with democracy. But Mike, I didn't say democracy is not good. Then something is wrong with the politicians. If you look at mostly each politician now, he have his followers. These followers, they don't rhyme with another followers. Every time you find that fight here, fight there. Why are they fighting? Is it because of political office or because of their boss? Something needs to be done. Like I keep on saying, you see, like this the National Assembly, the government need to make it to look less attractive in terms of financial. The moment is less attractive, people are going there not to make money. They are going there to make people's life
to serve
interesting. That is to serve people. Definitely all this ethnicity, diversity will automatically dried off. Military has ruled this country for quite some time. There is nothing of such. It's happened pockets of there, here and there it's happened, but not often. You find out that every now and then there is a crisis. Every now and then. Why? You ask yourself that all these crises that we're having, what are you benefiting from it? You kill this one today, you kill this one tomorrow. What are you benefiting? At the end of the day, you're benefiting nothing. Let's assume your boss maybe will give you money. Let's assume you are doing it because of money. What are you doing with the money? After you created problem for people, then you collect money. Will you spend that money while you sleep all right without any problem? No, it won't happen that way. So the government needs to have a tangible plan that will unite this country. This country is divided. First thing we need this country to be united, forgetting about North, South, Christian, Muslim, and tribe. let's come together and solve the problem of this country. The way he said it, there is nobody who will come from the foreign country and solve our problem. We in the country, we have to sit down and create a way and solve this problem. I keep on saying, like UN, IMF, that they are assisting us for. They only give us loan. The loan, we won't be able to pay the loan. Then keep on accumulating. That is the point I'm coming off. The foreigners will never develop this country. We have to sit down ourselves, do the right thing. The leaders, they should be accountable, take their responsibilities. The citizens with the citizens, be law-abiding citizens, live together with our neighbors, live together with other religions. I believe if we take that style, definitely we'll be okay.
Okay, Ambassador Hassan, I also like your take on that. How can we push for unity and stronger institutions?
I've said it. You educate the young ones, and they come up with and the parents, they themselves, they need to be ethical. So once you get the parents and the children, give them 5 years, a small child will be doing some things at home. Small child will say, Daddy, they taught us in school not to do this. He's correcting you. That is the beginning of respect, the beginning of thinking the right thing to do. And if you continue with that, by the time they're 10 years, because this is not something you do in 2 days, or you get, what do you call them? Mamsa before there was Mamsa, public enlightenment. What do they call it? I've forgotten. But it's not a one-day thing.
It's a national orientation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
A national orientation. Yeah, but the orientation starts at home.
Yes.
And school. So you make it easier for national orientation to come up with, to improve on what has been there already. But you just talk of national orientation, and he's telling you do this, do that, do that. You go home, your parents are doing something different. You go home, you go to school, are doing something different. Your neighbors, your society. The people will say, or I will say, is he talking out of void, or what is he thinking about? So you start questioning. So the development is not, you take this one, is not building high skyscrapers. Those living in those skyscrapers should know how to live in skyscrapers. So, and that is education. So the whole thing about the society is coming up with something that will be beneficial to all. And once you get this right, every other thing follows. Because the policeman will be ethically, the everybody. So you make life easier for people. This religious thing you are talking about, when we were kids, we had, you never know who is a Christian or who is a Muslim.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because during our time, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, once it's Christmas, we leave our hometown and we go to the villages where they have Christians, and they receive us, and we are friends. Because we are in school together, and we are ready to receive us. Why? Because at that time they taught us how to live well. But if we live the society without control,
yes,
it's a problem. So you have an uncontrolled situation. So, and control is 2 ways: physical control and psychological control. And the schools provide the psychological control, which is very, very powerful. That's the, if we get that, and you know, China today, I'm taking off glance now. China today has overtaken almost everywhere in terms of technology, in terms of development, in terms of the economy. China, when we were children, we used to have this in the say made in China. So if you eat food and you finish, he has seen made it. You understand? But that time was a rudimentary kind of thing. But they continued and persisted and continued to this stage. Where are they today? So if we had taken that approach, Nigeria would be something different. I know they are enemies of Nigeria, and even amongst you as an individual, within the people you interact with, you have enemies. You understand? So the same applies to nations. But you don't say, this one is the other. You take it as a given, and we follow it and with stride, and we have it at the back of our minds that these are our enemies. Whatever they say, we don't mind them. We pursue what is before us. Nigeria will be a very, very nice and a very jovial and friendly place.
Yeah, Nigerians are actually happy people. All right, this last question for both of you as we wrap up the program, because we just have like 5 minutes on the clock to wrap up. So I just have maybe an hour, a minute, 30 seconds to respond to the question. And the question is, if you could change one thing about Nigeria today to secure its future, Idris, what would that thing be? One thing.
Just love and unity. That's all.
Okay.
We should love each other. That's all.
All right. What about you, Ambassador Hassan?
Giving quality education from childhood to maturity. That's it.
That's indeed wonderful, because education is the bedrock of any society. When you educate your citizens, you're creating innovation, you're creating better future for that country. I apologize, a few calls came through, but I wasn't able to pick it. So for those of you that called, we apologize that we weren't able to take your call. But as we celebrate Nigeria at 65 today, is indeed a pleasure that we're alive to see it. And as we complain and point fingers at the leaders, we also have a role to play as citizens. I would say that Nigeria is still a developing story, and all of us has a pen to write what the future would turn out to be. So you all have a duty as citizens. It doesn't matter what lofty idea the president, I'm not just referring to the present administration, I'm talking about a president. It doesn't matter the lofty idea a president may have, but if those under him do not share the same aspiration, his dream cannot, definitely not come to reality. He may have good dreams, good things to do for Nigerians, but if people that trickles down below him who are supposed to implement this do not share in the same dream, then Nigeria cannot be better. And that is why Nigeria problem is not just leadership, but is also a people's problem. We all have to come together to do better for our dear country. After all, if we don't fix our nation, who will? Nobody. So it lies in our hands to make Nigeria a better place. I want to say a very big thank you to my guests, Idris and Ambassador Hassan, for coming today on the show. We do appreciate your input as we celebrate and talk about Nigeria 65.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming. And to you at home, once again, a very happy Independence Day. Today, as Nigeria is celebrating 65 years of independence. Go about, have fun, enjoy, and of course, always remember that you have a role to play. Change begins with you and I. I am Princess Ekeze Okoli. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.
Thank you.